Hi guys, it's Mrs. Delorme. Today we're going to learn about measures of central tendency and range. So measures of central tendency are mean, median, and mode. This is actually all review from 6th grade. So today should be super simple. We're just going to review your knowledge so that we can build upon that knowledge and learn new stuff with average. So we're just going to walk through. I'm going to review this with you, and then I'll do a few examples of each one. We'll do an example together, quote unquote together online, and then you guys will do practice problems. So to find the mean, we add up all of our numbers, and then we divide by how many numbers we have. Whenever I think of average, I always think about your test scores. So remember, to find the average of your product grades, I add up all of your test scores and then I divide by how many test scores you have, and that gives us the average. So again, it's the sum of a set of numbers divided by the total numbers of numbers in the set. So here's your example: 8, 10, 6, 9, 8, and 7. Step 1, we add all the numbers together. When I add them all up, I get 48. And then I divide by the number of numbers that I have. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 numbers. So 48 divided by 6 is 8. Therefore, the mean is 8. So here, Sue scored an 80 on her first test, a 70 on her second, and a 90 on her third. If I want to find the average of her test scores, I add all the numbers together. So 80 plus 70 plus 90, that's 240. And then I'm going to divide it by 3 because she had 3 test scores. So her average, or mean and average are the same thing, is an 80. So that would be her average test score is an 80%. The next measure of central tendency is median. Median, I always think about middle. So median and middle, they both have the same amount of letters. And if you drive down the road, the median is in the center of both lanes. So to find the median, you first write the numbers in order. This is the most important step. You always have to write the numbers in order first. Then you find the middle of the numbers. Sometimes there's only going to be one number in the middle, and that's your median. But if there's 2 numbers in the middle, you have to find the average of those 2 numbers to find your median. So I'm going to give you an example. Here are your numbers for the data set. Okay. Step 1, I have to put my numbers in order from least to greatest. So I did that. Then I cross off from left to right. So there's 3 numbers on the left, 3 on the right. I crossed them all off. Okay, but now there's 2 numbers in the middle. Again, if there's only 1 number in the middle, that's your median. But in this case, because you have 2 numbers in the middle, you have to add them together. 37 plus 41 is 78. And then you divide by 2 because there's 2 numbers in the middle, and you get 39. Therefore, 39 is the middle of all of these numbers. That's your median. Okay. Again, if there's a special circumstance when there's 2 in the middle, you add them together, divide by 2. The third measure of center is mode. Mode is the number that appears the most often. Just like median and middle, they sound alike. They have the same amount of numbers, same amount of letters. Mode and most both have 4 letters. They both start with MO. So that's how I always remembered it when I was in 7th grade. Mode occurs the most. So here's your example. We have the data set 8, 10, 6, 9, 8, and 7. We're going to find the number that occurs the most often. And this is the easiest one to find. It is clearly 8. So 8 is the most, or the mode. The last one that we have to learn about is range. So range is the difference between your largest and your smallest number. You always subtract the smallest number from the largest number. Okay, so it's the same data set. Your smallest number is 6, your largest number is 10. 10 minus 6 is 4, therefore the range is 4. So the data set ranges by 4 numbers. All right, this is where we're going to do a practice example together. So here is a set of data. We're going to suppose that these are your test scores that you scored in marking period 3. So you scored a 95%, awesome. 89, 93, 93, 90, 87, oh, you scored a 20%. So you had one really low test score. and we're going to see how this affects the data, okay? So I want you to go ahead and pause here. I want you to find the mean, median, mode, and range, okay? I'll give you a minute. Go ahead and pause. All right, so the mean, you should have scored an 81. The median, you should have a 90. The range is a 75, and the mode is a 93. Remember, you have to put the numbers in order from least to greatest, especially for the median. For the mean, you add up all of the numbers and then divide by the number of numbers that you have, okay? And there are 7 test scores here, so you would divide by 7. The mode is the number that happens the most often, so 93 happens the most. The range is your smallest number subtracted from your largest, so 95 minus 20 is 75, okay? Now, if you had a choice of which measure to tell your parents your marking period 3 grade was, which one would you choose? I'm going to guess that you would choose the mode because that's the highest grade, right? You want to tell your parents, look, I got a 93, right? However, that's not how it works. So schools, we always use the mean because we want to hold you accountable. Whether it's your lowest test score or your highest test score, you need to take credit for all of your test scores, and you have to be held accountable for all of them. And that's why the 20 works in there. So the mean is brought down a lot by that 20%, right? Look at your test scores. They go from 87 to 95 other than that 20. So they're all in the really high B's, even high A's range. So the mean was brought down by that 20%. But this would be your score. This would be your grade on Schoology. It's an 81. Me personally, if I were to choose one for your grade, I would choose the median. The reason I choose the median is because the median hides those outliers. So if you have an outlier in your data, it's actually best to choose the median because I believe a 90 better represents your test scores. See, if you took out this 20 here, you're about a 90%. So the median always eliminates those extremes or your outliers. This 20 is an outlier. It stands out. So the median is best when you have an outlier. The mean is actually best when you don't have an outlier. Unfortunately, this is what we use in school for your grades, but the mean is best when you don't have any outliers. The mode is always best when you have numbers that occur very frequently, and we're going to talk about that later when we look at line plots in a few days. And then the range, we never want to use the range. The range is actually not a measure of tendency, but it does show you how different your numbers are, and they range by 75, and that's again because of your outlier, that 20% that you scored on a test. Okay, so just remember when we would use mean and median, that's the most important. So most of this was review. The thing I want you to really take away from this lesson is that we use the mean when there are no outliers, and the median best represents data when there are high or low outliers, so either one, okay? So right now you guys can go ahead and go to your Schoology assignment. There are 10 questions, 5 on just finding the measures of central tendency and range, so mean, median, mode, and range. And then there's 5 questions on when you would use mean, median, and mode, okay?